Hi, my name is Darius and I'm from Simply Additions. Today we're going to be installing a door into an opening that has concrete sides. The first thing that we need to do is install some pressure treated studs on both sides before we can actually install the door. Now to do that, what we do is we pre-drill through the concrete using masonry drill bits. Afterwards, we drive these masonry screws through the stud and into the concrete. Now both of these items you can't pick up at your local Home Depot store. As you can tell, this one's already installed, and we're going to focus on installing this one now. So I've already pre-cut my pressure treated 2x8, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to slip it in here, make sure it's nice and tight. The next thing I'm going to do is pre-drill first. So the first thing that I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and press this pressure treated stub up against the opening. I want to make sure it's level. Let's go ahead and put it level on the side. That looks good right there. So the next thing that I'm going to do is pre-drill 3 holes using the masonry bit. It's a little tough for the masonry bit to actually go through the wood, but once it gets through the wood, it's not that hard going through the concrete. Now we're drilling through concrete. So now that we've pre-drilled a couple of holes through the stud into the concrete, what we're going to do is we're going to take these Tapcon screws. Now you know they're masonry screws when they're blue coated, and we're going to take these and drive them through the stud and anchor them to the concrete. Now these are hex backed screws, so we need a hex driver. Now again, for this small project it's okay to use a cordless drill, but if you're going to be doing a lot more than this, you might want to get a corded drill. That's a nice tight hold right there, and that's all you need. Now down here, one more. Well, we did a quick test fit with the door, and it does fit. Now one thing to mention here too is this door is shorter than usual, so what we have to do is contact our local building supplier and make sure that we ordered a door that's about 7 inches less in height than your standard opening. Well, we got the door in place, and what we did is we put some screws temporarily through the hinges on this side, on the top and bottom, and into the stud just to hold the door into place. And we started one shim up here, and we hit the screw behind the weather stripping. Now I like to use screws for one important reason. That with a nail, it's much harder to determine when you're driving it how far you're actually pushing this jamb towards, the right or the wrong direction. Now if you use a screw, you can actually, with the turns, adjust how far this jamb is getting to the actual stud or how far you can take it back. It's an easier way for adjustment. Now that I have one screw in here, I'm just going to make sure that this door so far closes, and at least I'll know that I'm on the right track. Well, so far nothing's getting caught up. So what I'm going to do now is give you an up-close view of how we like to install doors and conceal the screws behind the weather stripping. It's a neat little technique, and it also makes it much easier to make adjustments. So what we're going to do now is we're going to show you how to install a screw into the side of the door without actually ever revealing the screw head. It's a nice little trick, and it makes the door installation look a lot neater. Now before I go further, I'm going to recommend one great tool for you. It's this here on the end of my drill. It's called a sleeve. Now what's nice about this thing is once you have this installed on your drill, you can just take your screw, throw it in, keep the sleeve up. Now if you take the sleeve down, you'll see how it works. There's your Phillips head. But you put the sleeve back up, you throw the screw in there, and now, free-handed, single-handedly, you can drill anywhere you want. Makes it much easier, especially if you're holding on to something else with your hand, like in the situation that we're doing here. So, what I do first is I take the weather stripping and I peel it back, just like that. Now, with the screw, I put it behind the weather stripping and I drive it in just a little, just so it's there. I can feel it just barely poking through the back. Now I take my shim. I like to install my shim above the screw to where I need it. Let me actually reverse that. Now the door has somewhat been calibrated and set to a position that's about 95% level and square. Now I go ahead and continue to drill. Now, when you put the weather stripping back, one thing that's nice is the screw's not visible. You peel it back, and there's the head. Now you can use this. If you loosen the screw a little bit, you can adjust the jamb by bringing it out. And if you tighten it, you can go towards the jamb. So let's take a look and see how good we are right now. Well, when I close my door, I got a pretty big gap right there. Now this is the great part about screwing instead of nailing the jambs. Now it's much easier to do an adjustment and you don't ever damage the door. Obviously I got to bring the jamb back about, I would say, 1/4 inch this way. So what I'm going to do, go back to my weather stripping, peel it back a little, loosen the screw, which allows me to throw the thickness of the shim in there a little bit tighter. Let's go ahead and close the door again. It's a little bit better. I could probably use another 1/8 of an inch. Let's go ahead and loosen the screw a little. Get some more shim material in there. Now we tighten the screw so the shims don't fall out. Let's take a look. And there we go. Nice, easy, and clean.